Um, hey, what this is obviously with everything going on, um, there's so much misinformation out there, and I want to know myself what the fuck was going on through my own abilities to put stuff together, link stuff together. So I just started going through the files as everyone else has been doing. I mean, there's just thousands of videos on it now, isn't there? But I wanted to go through one by one, to build a chronology in my mind. And put the fear of God into Bob, though. And so what I'm doing. It's going to take years, I imagine. But it's just sort of like a diary to keep track of stuff, I guess, would be the best way of saying it. I'm going to put it online, so anyone who's interested or comes to some weird conclusion, just happens to watch it, can see it. When no one else is interested, even if they aren't going through it, can see it, because I think these sort of things should be public domain. I think it'd be put out there that I don't want to kill myself. I feel like every video like this should start off like that. But I've been keeping notes. This little book here. For every file, I've started dataset 11 because I've heard that there's a lot of information in that which is interesting. Once I get through that, I'm going to go back to dataset 1 and go right through. For a quick initial hit of what I think is going on, I'm going to start there. That's the best thing to do. So yeah, it's currently, what time is it? Nearly 4 a.m. in the morning. So we should start cracking on. So far, for a brief synopsis, so people can click off if they. I mean, who's going to see this really, apart from maybe Epstein's agents, and send a hit on me? Wonderful. Again, I don't want to kill myself. But yeah, so quick synopsis. There's nothing too interesting so far. I've only got 90% of the way through the first page, so hopefully that will speed up as more things become irrelevant and more things become relevant. But yeah, let's begin. So, file number 1, EFTA02205655. It's the first one on dataset 11. It seems to be something about transactions for a flight for Lasma, organized by Natalia Molokovka. Now, Molokovka, I'm going to butcher every pronunciation here, I don't care. Appears to be their Amex rep or Centurion relationship manager. So she'll appear quite a lot, and she does know about Epstein, because in one of the later files I'll cover, it's mentioned someone will be running Epstein's Island, so she knew she was corresponding with Epstein. And bear in mind, all of these are from 2017, so they all knew that Epstein was a convicted sex offender at this point. Everyone in this knew that he was convicted. But yeah. So just please get a ticket for Lasma, get a seat, all that. Going from Barcelona to Miami doesn't really matter. Miami is where one of his houses are. She's from Latvia, and this is how I worked out who this was. Latvia, April 30th, 1995. So, first thing, nothing immediately noteworthy. We've gone to the second one, 5827. It's just a continuation of the last file. This time we work out as Leslie Groff, who we work out is the house manager for... I originally thought it was just for Miami, but she appears a lot, so I think it might just be everywhere. From an unknown Indonesian source. She was a house manager for Palm Beach in Florida, more than a decade. I wrote in here, seems she controlled the duration of the stays, but she appears to do much more than that later on. Many victims report it was her who welcomed into the house and downplayed Epstein's abuse. She's been charged for coercion. This could be coercion, but she's been charged for a lot of things. Sentenced in 2023 for the curing of a minor for prostitution. So Leslie Groff has been convicted, one of the rare few. Yeah, although it says from the source that I got, it says she appeared to have got a lenient sentence. So, how much has justice really been done? So, 9622, continuation of the email exchange. E-ticket for Miss Lasma Katarska, so Lasma from before. Customer contact address is 9 East Street 71st Street, or 9 East 71st Street. This is Epstein's house in New York, the fucking weird, creepy place. The one with the hanging doll, coming from the ceiling. I think that's what it was. I'm not going to confirm anything that I haven't already found in any of the documents. It's just not how I work. Until I see it, I don't believe. Well, it's not that I don't believe it, because obviously I believe all the wild shit that I've been saying is true. But until I've verified it, I'm not going to say anything. Lasma Katarska hadn't found her at this point, but then I researched her, and it seems she's a Latvian-born tech entrepreneur. Now, and the CSO of Noda, which is a banking payments platform. And the birth dates I found for this company and her line up with the birth dates that were mentioned in Epstein's files. So it is definitely her. She would have been 22 when these flights were being booked. She appeared to come from the Stockholm School of Economics from 2014 to 2017. And then a year later, she co-founded Noda. I just found it interesting that it would have been a couple months after she finished school that she was sent to go meet Epstein. And then 8 or so months after that, she was co-founding this massive banking firm. Now, I don't know how many graduates do that. Maybe she's a genius. These people exist. Or maybe Epstein was helping her a little bit. I don't know. None of this is... Obviously, can't charge anyone with anecdotal evidence. So, we'll never know. But she did appear to own a 75% share of NowToPay, which is a separate term for Noda in the UK. All the other co-founders have dropped out. Very interesting stuff to me. Move on to the next file. This is another exchange of flights. This time between Larry Vysotsky and the person who's redacted. Also, can I just say, they said they were only going to redact victims. I've hardly seen a victim redacted. Everyone who's redacted is involved somehow. So they're just going against their word. Seems to be flying from Paris to Marrakesh. After researching Larry Vysotsky, obviously most people know this. He was Jeffrey Epstein's chief pilot. Flew the Lolita Express. We all know what that is. He testified that he witnessed no abuse. Everyone testifies that they witnessed no abuse. So apparently the only person who did was Epstein. Epstein gave him 40 acres of land in New Mexico and named him for a £10 million donation. I don't know what you call it, in his will. So, facts and figures kind of line up here. 12883 or 0221812883 appears to be a meeting between Epstein and Maxim and his mum. I don't know who Maxim could be. It's never mentioned again from what I've seen. It's organised by Leslie Groff, whatever, again. Moving on to file 6. There's another flight organised by Leslie Groff, this time to Moscow, then back to New York. No information about it. No nothing. 02212889, an email from Leslie Groff to Epstein mentioning a meeting between Brad Karp and Catherine Rumler. Now, Brad Karp is an American lawyer. Seems to have plotted to have a woman deported by Epstein's command. Stepped down as chairman of Paul Weiss, Riffin, Wharton and Garrison, which is a lawyer firm, due to the Epstein files. So a little bit of justice there, but he's not in prison, so not that much justice. He appears in 582 files, which seems like a lot, but in comparison to some others, it's not a lot. Catherine Rumler is an attorney, former White House council member, so this shit goes deep. That was for Barack Obama. She was associate counsel for Bill Clinton, so with the Democrats, but then again, left and right doesn't fucking mean anything here. They're all in on it. She called Epstein Wonderful Jeffrey, as that was one of her names, and is quoted by saying, "I adore him." She's listed up as backup executor of Epstein's will, romantically involved with a married associate of Epstein. You know, I don't give a shit about that bit. People can do whatever the fuck they want. Adultery is not a crime. Social crime, I guess, but not a crime. It is in 40 files. Not really a lot. Then there's a flight to West Palm Beach. You know, his Epstein's Miami house. It was interesting to me that while I was doing that, my page reverted to forbidden. And it opened up a Gmail tab. So take that as you will. I don't know if they changed anything, didn't read it thoroughly enough. But it spooked me at the time. Next file, number 9, all names were redacted. It was on April 27, 2017, organising a car for someone to go to an airport, and the driver, I assumed at the time, was nicknamed Jojo. We'll later find out that Jojo was a housekeeper for Epstein. Next file, two Larry Vasowski from Redacted, organising 2 apartments for 2 days, apartment 301, me and my new pilot Chip. So I'm assuming that's Larry Vasowski getting somewhere, just hired a co-pilot nicknamed Chip. Chip never appears again, from what I can see. Most of these don't really have any significant importance, and you're not going to see any connections between them until you have more information, because, I mean, there's nothing to go off. They've redacted so much fucking shit. The next one, to Epstein, talks about Matthew Hiltzik not being able to make an appointment. Has a colleague, Ben Susenko. Talks about, I didn't mention, Terhe's performance of Oslo. Lincoln Center, Terhe. Now, he appears in the file later on, but I didn't make the connection there. Says Jojo's a driver, so Jojo is Epstein's driver. Matthew Hiltzik is a lawyer and publicist, founded Hiltzik Strategies, represents politicians and Hollywood actors. He helped Israeli victims of October the 7th. He's a spokesperson of Mr. Beast, which I find quite funny. So there's a connection between Mr. Beast and Epstein somewhere. Obviously Mr. Beast, I don't think he's involved. He was honoured by the New York Board of Rabbis for his work in the Jewish community. Appears 561 times. Again, it's not the most. Bob Susenko, cinematographer. I don't think he had anything to do with anything. He doesn't appear again, I don't think. This time it's to Melanie Spinella from Redacted. Asked whether Leon is coming to see Jeffrey. Billionaire Leon Black. I think could be Leon Black. Melanie Spinella seems to be an executive assistant to Leon Black. So Leon Black is like a art salesman, connected to all the highest figures. So, I mean, all those know those paintings of Bill Clinton and Bush found in Epstein's house in New York. So whether there's any connection there, I don't know. In the next file, everything's redacted. Talks about a welcome letter for Bobby Slayton. Bobby Slayton is a writer, actor, and comedian. He is Jewish. No, don't attack me for that. I'm just writing down all the information, but there does seem to be a lot of religious figures involved in all of this. Now, he appears 2,388 times. So I imagine I'll see him come up again. I've no other information apart from that so far. This time it's to Leslie Groff from Redacted. Talks about laser appointment with Dan Jean. Dan Jean's a medical firm in New York, removing a mole on nose and capillaries. Dan Jean is a medical firm for aging skin, in New York. Whatever. Next one is to Steve Hansen. Talks about meeting Epstein at 7 p.m. Steve Hansen, a restaurant mogul. This is what I could find. Now, I'm not entirely certain on this guy. Could be someone different. So if anyone knows, let me know on that one. He worked with Bloomberry, worked with Tom Frieden. I don't know who Tom Frieden is. From the UK, so he's an American businessman. I'm not going to know. And he also worked with Obama. He appears in 4,604 results. So this guy seems pretty connected. I'm sure it'll come up later on. The next file again mentions Matthew Hiltzik meeting Epstein. In the CC of the email, it says the name Jojo Fontanilla. So this gave me a name to work off. Jojo Fontanilla is the husband of one of Epstein's housekeepers, John Lynn Fontanilla. They haven't been arrested, as far as I'm aware. Housekeeper, they knew what the fuck was going on. He was driving them around the place. I mean, he was housekeeper for the New York address that they knew. If you're involved that deeply, you knew, in my opinion. But so far, nothing's happened to them. Actually, it did say that I might be mixing up with a different person here, but it said they might have disappeared. But that no, I think I'm mixing up with someone. Disregard that. The next file, EFTA02212940, seems to be on email about a procedure that's happened between is to Karina Shuliak, who is Epstein's last girlfriend. Mentions a Natasha rep. No, so that's Natasha from before the Amex rep. Karina writes to someone about wishing them well about a procedure. Now, I don't know if that procedure is the procedure from before, so I'm assuming that procedure was for Epstein with Dan Jean. Again, everyone who was involved with Epstein knows he was a convicted sex offender at this point. She also wants help, or Karina wants help with a Schengen visa. She's going to Paris from May 27th to June 3rd. Don't know if that has any relevance so far. Karina's Belarusian, by the way. Doesn't mean anything at this point. Next file, email between Epstein and John Woods. John Woods is a vice president for the Department of Homeland Security. So pretty high up, that's currently. So, pretty high up. Immigration enforcement, border security, involved with all of that stuff. He was appointed by the ICE director. So, pretty shady guy. Don't like the fact that Epstein is involved with a guy like this, especially so high up connected. But, I mean, we know how he's connected to Donald Trump, who's the president, so does it really matter at this point? Next file, Epstein's asking if someone can see him. Mentioned Morning Faith, but I don't know whether that was a greeting or like a code name for someone. It's interesting, they had no space bar between it. It's all one word, Morning Faith. But I don't know if that was a typo. Chances are it is. Bit of an odd greeting name, Morning Faith. I've never heard that. Maybe it's a different religious greeting or from a different country. I don't know. EFTA02202940. Can Nadia see Epstein? Don't know who Nadia is. And it says from Terhe's friend. Now, I didn't make the connection there, but Terhe seems to be the one who had done the play initially. If I can find it again. It talks about Terhe's performance of Oscar. So Terhe seems to be an actor, director, something. Lincoln Center Theatre Broadway. Maybe he was an old fucking guy, and they're just saying to his friend as a joke. But I'd love to know who that is. Haven't researched it. I'm going to go research it as soon as this is over. Yeah. Yeah. Next file. All the names were redacted on this one. Big shocker. None of them were victims. Talking about checking flights. Could be flights for Karina. Seem to line up with the dates, April 27th. So she would be coming back in a week or two. There's no relevance to that at all. The next one, to Peggy Siegel. About arranging seats with MC at the Lincoln Center. This is a different performance from the one we were talking about before. That had already happened. This has 24 seats. They were talking about trying to get an extra 2 seats because they mix and match something. Peggy Siegel is an American publicist. It seems from my brief research into her that Epstein used her to get back into Hollywood after, he was convicted as a fucking sex offender. So all of them know he's a sex offender. I keep reiterating. She appears 7,294 times, so definitely involved. And if you're appearing that much, you definitely knew. The next file is from Blair Hildebrand to Larry Vasowski. It's talking about colours for a Gulfstream G550, which they appear to be buying. I couldn't find anything on Blair Hildebrand. He had an assistant as well. Andrew Hamden. Couldn't find anything on him either. So maybe they're too high up. And also, I'm saying I couldn't find anything if there's so many people who are appearing with that name, because how am I going to know it's the right one unless there's actual evidence like Lasma from before where it's the same birthday and from the same country. So I couldn't find anything on him. Again, it's pretty irrelevant. They're just buying a jet. Something rich people do all the time. Now this is again about the tickets, Peggy Siegel. One's from Gary Jaworski. Also there's a Lila Walker. I could find Gary Jaworski is an independent scholar who's a professor at Farley Dickinson University. So they appear to be going to this performance at Lincoln Center together. 24 different people. We now know that Gary Jaworski is. There's a different name as well, Lila Walkers, but I couldn't find anything on her. So I'm wondering if they also went. So going there is now definitely Epstein, Gary Jaworski, Lila Walker maybe, and Peggy Siegel. No other information, as is the way with all these files. Next file, reminding Epstein that he wants to see Olivier Coulomb. Now, Olivier Coulomb is a French businessman who was the advisor to the right-wing president of France, Nicolas Sarkozy. And it mentioned in my brief research on him that he was active in Africa. Now, we all know what the French are doing in Africa, so make your own conclusions there. He appears a lot. I've got to say, he does appear a lot. So, and he says that he didn't know anything that was going on. They all say that. If everyone's saying that, who do you take out that word? Who do you not take out that word? Just gotta investigate all of them. EFTA02212940. From Epstein, send Aziza 23andMe. Now 23andMe is the DNA company where you can research your lineage. It seems that this Aziza is Aziza Sabaiti. I'm probably butchering that last name. She's an athlete from Lebanon. Appears 1,304 times, so no other information on her. It's interesting this came directly from Epstein, saying send that information. So obviously they had a personal relationship there. Another one, flights organised by Natalia Molokova, New York to Florida. Florida again, Miami, someone's getting fucking transported. Every name was redacted, so possibly one was a victim. Next file, between Leslie Groff and Natalie Molokova. Tiffany is Natalie's assistant, talking about J.E.'s passports. She also mentions a Dear Eunice. Now, first thought in my mind was Attack on Titan. There's no other information about her. It could just be a flight company or something, I don't know. So until her name appears again. Next file, names redacted. Shocker. Appointment with Masha Drovka, assistant Yuri. Maria Drovka is a Russian investor. Now she's also the spokesperson for the youth movement that Putin founded. I don't know if Putin founded it, but he definitely took it under his wing. Called Masha. Now she'll appear a lot more. I'm pretty sure she's quoted as saying it's an awful thing that happened to Wonderful Jeffrey or something like that. So she's definitely involved. There's no other information that I've seen so far, but appears to be quite a shady figure. Apparently she was meeting up with Jeffrey Epstein. The next file, Epstein saying, call Christopher Highland. Send 50k to an open charity, or opera charity. And this was sent to Richard Kahn. Korea Shuliak sends the contact info, so Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend sends the contact info, so she somehow knows Crystal Highland's contact info. Now, Highland is a special envoy in North America for Bektashi. Bektashi is a weird mystic Islamist order. It's like a subset of Islamic teachings or something. And Epstein sent a $50,000 donation to them. Obviously, the internet's saying he called people goyim in later files, so that he was a Zionist, but now he's sending a $50,000 donation to this Islamist mystic order. I mean, it was founded in the 1200s. It's crazy. Yeah, he's still part of that. I don't know whether he's anything to do with this, because he just received a donation. He's not mentioned previously. I don't know if he be mentioned further on. The last file I've done talks about flights from Kimberly Ross and Michael Ross. Now Leslie Groff says that they will run the island for Epstein. I couldn't find anything on Kimberly Ross or Michael Ross. They just never appeared again. They were bringing 3 dogs, and they're really concerned about these 3 dogs that they were taking in the flight. They are dogs, they're not children or some code word for children, because they actually listed them and all their weights and stuff. But yeah, seems they went on to run Epstein's Island from 2017. Don't know when they stopped. Why are these people not getting tracked down? Maybe they have been. I haven't gone through all the files. Maybe they will be tracked down, and I just don't know yet. But why are these people not being tracked down and put in public spotlight? They run the island. If you're on the island, you know what the fuck's happening on the island. Yeah, that's so far everything I've done. It's about 4 or 5 pages of writing. Don't know when I'll update next. Again, I imagine that maybe 2 people are going to see this, but if you do, and you know that I've got something wrong, or you know other information, put it down, or tell me about it. Yeah, these fuckers need to die. All of them need to be put in prison. Bring back the death penalty for all of them, I believe. Or maybe that's too lenient on them. And again, these people here, the people who've been mentioned, all the businessmen, hardly any of them are in prison. The FBI just isn't investigating them at all. And they're redacting people that aren't victims. It's just... I don't know. But yeah. Concludes the first investigation. I'll update you on more soon. And so I'm thinking it's going to take me fucking years. I'm going to be doing this for years. I just want to know. I feel like everyone should do. There's not enough public outrage. All of Gen Z is desensitized to it, so we're saying, oh my god, look at this on TikTok and Instagram and all that, but no one's going out and fucking murdering these bastards. Can you imagine what the French revolutionists would be saying? We'd be disappointed, our ancestors would be disappointed in us. Well, maybe they were involved. I mean, probably the Rothschilds or some shit had something to do with all this. It's a depressing thought, isn't it? Until next time.